In fact, Clint Walker detested him more than anybody. The birth of Clint Walker, Norman Walker, Eugene, May 30th, 1927, in Illinois' Hartford, became one of America's most recognizable fascist television in the heyday of having grown up during the Great A working-class family experiencing depression. Walker became acutely aware of resilience and self-control at an early age, characteristics that would subsequently identify his tough on-screen demeanor. He dropped high school to work in a range of occupations, such as those in factories, a doorman in Las Vegas and a riverboat crewman in Vegas, eventually becoming a merchant World War II Marine, where highs of it with honor. His imposing height of 6'6", wide-shouldered build, deep voice and composed manner inherently attracted focus, opening the door for his soon-announced foray into Hollywood in 1955. Walker's breakthrough occurred when he played the role of Cheyenne Bod in the Cheyenne television series, the first Western television program that lasts for an hour and first of its kind to achieve major status for the new ABC network. It was a hit. The Clint Walker became well known for his portrayal and made him a member of the first celebrities on television. He played a lone cowboy in the role of Cheyenne, possessing a strong sense of morality and steadfast sense of justice, characteristics that struck a profound chord with audiences in America. Amid a period of post-war hope and changing values, his performance was beneficial. Described the noble archetype, Western hero, and had a lasting impact on generations of comparable characters in television and movie. Cheyenne spent 8 seasons running 1955-1963, and Walker's representation being a symbol of the popularity of the genre, combining decency and masculinity in a manner that few actors could imitate. In addition to his accomplishments on television, Walker made the switch to movies as well. Appeared in several well-known films during the 1950s and 1960s and the 1970s. He was in The Dirty With Dozen 1967, among his most well-known movie roles. In that, he performed as Samson Posey, affable but deadly soldier in the action classic from World War II. His westerns are also included in the filmography, according to Yellowstone, Kelly 1959, 1961, Gold of the Seven Saints, and other works. 1969's Dead, and Olivia, as well as roles in television, films, and well into the 1980s. There were guest slots. He was the star in Night of the Grizzly as well, a popular Western adventure movie from 1966, which demonstrated his capacity to carry a film that is both charming and serious. However, frequently stereotyped as a man of Walker yearned for opportunities to take action to show off his range. He experimented with voice acting and appeared as a guest star in a range of programs during the 1970s and 1980s, solidifying his reputation as a flexible performer. In the background, Clint Walker was renowned for his thankfulness and humility in the direction of his supporters. In contrast to many Hollywood celebrities of the era, he led a comparatively private existence free of scandal. Even so, he suffered from personal misfortunes, such as Valerie, his daughter, passed away in amateur cycle mishap. He continued to be an emblem of unwavering fortitude. Additionally, he was the survivor of a skiing accident that almost killed inside in 1971, wherein he was declared deceased following his heart was penetrated by a ski pole, only to miraculously get better and go back to this occurrence strengthened Ed both off-screen and on-screen legend as Amun with nearly superhuman fortitude. Walker's acting career ended in the late 1990s, but remained in contact with the general public. He regularly went to Western fan gatherings and upheld communication with fans who had spent decades following his career. His legacy kept expanding among the traditional Western enthusiasts and TV viewers who witnessed he is the personification of a more dignified and principled period of narrative despite the decline of the Western genre from which spread appeal. Clint Walker's contributors preserved its essence. However, Clint Walker's private life, being eclipsed by his imposing screen presence and rough Western character, was distinguished by a more subdued voyage through 3 lengthy unions, each of which covering almost 20 years and representing the personal, practical side of the guy with the cowboy hat on. His initial Vera Garver was the woman he married in 1948, as his life was only getting started to rise above a lowly working-class experience into a profession that would give him a household name in the end. The pair had a close relationship during the initial years of Walker's ascent to prominence, overcoming the obstacles of a new life united in Hollywood. Their partnership produced a daughter as a youngster. Valerie was born in 1950. In the 1950s, Clint's career was booming. His breakthrough performance as Cheyenne Body in the popular television shows Vera, Cheyenne, and Valerie played a significant role in his emotions-based. Valerie, who grew up in her father's popularity, would cast a shadow over her rising to forge her own path in a field. Aviation has long been a male-dominated field. She was among the first women to United States airline pilots, outstanding accomplishment that addressed some pioneering nature as her father brought to the big screen. Although they got off to a great start, Clint and in the end, Vera's marriage ended in divorce after 20 years in 1968. However, after they split up, They kept on partaking Valerie's prior revolutionary achievements and stayed in touch via their shared daughter in history. Many years afterwards, in 1974, Clint Walker fell in love once more, and Giselle Hennessy was married. Their bond was defined by mutual regard and gentle commitment, as opposed to the hectic world of Hollywood. Giselle was explained by individuals who know Clint as a sophisticated and benevolent woman, who provided peace and steadiness in his life throughout the latter years in which he worked. While they were, Clint's 20-year marriage has mostly retreated from the grueling pace of movies and television, showing up in roles on occasion, but concentrating more on a calm and contented personal existence. Their collaboration lasted until the death of Giselle in 1994, a loss that had a profound impact on Clint and signified the close of a cherished era in his existence. Her demise left a vacuum that he held with honor and silent grief. Following a time of isolation and grief, Clint Walker eventually discovered Red France once more. He got married in 1997. His third and last wife, Susan Cavallari spouse. Their union signified a new starting at the end of Clint's life, based on mutual respect and shared beliefs, attention, and the coziness of experience friendships. Susan accompanied Clint during his last decades, providing steadfast assistance and taking pleasure in the tranquility of, in contrast to his earlier years packed with movie sets, public appearances, television production companies. These subsequent years were more introspective and confidential. Susan and Clint had a life out of the limelight full with affection, dialogue, and the strength of a connection throughout time constructed on camaraderie rather than glitz and devotion. Their union lasted until 2018 saw the passing of Clint Walker, ending a life narrative that is not just full of legacy as well as in individual devotion and enduring affection. Clint Walker, theatrical star, most recognized for his function as Shine, the kind but tough cowboy body in the popular western on television. Shine was respected for his calm presence, silence, and a deep voice power. Walker frequently appears on screen depicted individuals who aimed for peace, and fairness, but were able to tremendous power when the circumstances. As a person, he was renowned for his excellent work and composed manner ethic, as well as hesitation to participate in that typical controversy or gossip in Hollywood. But there was only one man in the entertainment industry who were able to, like no other, to get Walker's attention. James Garner, a fellow actor. Garner, James the charming and gregarious lead actor of Maverick, was an acquaintance of Walker at the heyday of television westerns. Warner had a deal with both men, the late 1950s, when the brother Shen the studio was producing an amount of popular western television shows to take advantage of America's desire for tales of the frontier. As Garner's Maverick was witty and humorous. Utilizing Garner's inherent charm and with humorous timing, Walker's Cheyenne adopted a more somber, gloomy tone. This divergence in style was just the start of their disagreements, both off and on-screen. In the background, those two stars become hostile to one another. Over the years that would fester. From Walker's point of view, Garner represented all the things he didn't like about the Hollywood system. Garner was vocal, rude, and frequently disobedient to a studio boss, infamously living Gant bringing a lawsuit against Warner Brothers in 1964 contract violation. AHA prevailed in the litigation. Although some people admired the maverick streak of Garner, in keeping with his Clint Walker, the character's name, a man of self-control and high moral standards, thought that was insulting and haughty. Walker has a reputation for being extra melodiv and for keeping a low-profile dignity on the set, choosing instead to allow his work speaks for itself. He took pride in himself, on professionalism and staying away from needless drama. Conversely, Garner was not afraid to show his contempt for producers, executives, or even actors, and he frequently shared harsh criticisms of those he believed were not deserving of the limelight. As stated by Garner, once disparaged a number of reports, Walker's acting skills, rejecting him as merely an enormous man with no depth and muscles. For a man such as Walker, who put forth endless effort to surpass his outward look and be acknowledged as a serious performer, including remarks were extremely hurtful, and were now. The conflict between them was exacerbated even more during Warner Brothers' promotional activities, where the studio frequently set its stars against one another, other in covert and occasionally overt ways. To create media and interest pay attention. Walker believed he was being exploited as a visual aid to contrast Garner's keen wit and charisma of a leader, and that the rivalry was frequently fueled by the press, persistently contrasting the two. Competition of this nature didn't sit well. Walker, who cherished harmony and genuineness over conceit and showmanship, later interviews revealed that Clint Walker hardly seldom discussed in public. Garner, however, when questioned directly, he made it was evident that theirs was not according to report. In his usually modest but stern manner, Walker reportedly remarked, "Some men are decent enough to follow their own course to advance. Some people bully others." He didn't mention names, but many close. It appeared to him to be a cleverly valiant allusion to Garner. Walker, however, never participated in any disputes or outbursts in public. People who are closest to him, such as friends, family, and even co-stars have claimed Garner was the only performer who could really make him uneasy. They said that a silent resentment toward him, not due to a single occurrence, but due to what he perceived to be a pattern of actions that went against his innermost principles. Strangely, both men stayed symbols of their respective Western series, and they were well liked by many admirers. Similarly, without understanding the profound hatred that lingered behind these, although they rose similarly to renown and affection for the Western genre, James Garner and Clint Walker symbolized two diametrically opposed values of celebrity, dignity and masculinity in America in the middle of the century. Additionally, James Garner Walker wasn't merely a dictator. He was the embodiment of he hated everything about the entertainment sector. Ultimately, even if Clint Walker didn't often criticize others, those closest to him have stated that if he ever met someone truly despised, a powerful term for a man, James was renowned for his moderation. Garner, although the resentment remained silent, it was genuine, and it persisted for many years. Clint, the tall, broad-shouldered Walker actor, most recognized for playing the classic role of In the Long Run, Cheyenne's body Western Cheyenne on television, died in the quiet town on May 21, 2018 of California's Grass Valley. He was only a couple days before his 91st birthday, signaling the conclusion of extraordinary life and profession that had lasted for almost a century. His demise was congestive heart failure as the cause, a disorder that arises when the heart blood is not pumped by muscle as effectively as it's hold, frequently the outcome of years of deterioration. Even so, he had kept an incredibly powerful and essential look far into his later years. The gradual deterioration of his health in his last few months were a private matter kept out of the spotlight by his close companions and relatives. Walker's death was lamented by more than just legions. Many admirers who had watched him grow up take over TV screens in the 1950s and the 1960s, but also by a close-knit group of relatives who did not recall him as Hollywood's larger-than-life character, but as a loving parent, spouse, and family member. He lived on by Valerie Walker, his cherished daughter, from his initial union with Vera Garver. In her own way, Valerie had created history among the first female airlines to be exact pilots in the U.S., which is evident Sato. The power and self-reliance fate appeared to be inherited from the Walkers. Their relationship stayed strong throughout the decades, and she frequently mentioned her father with love and appreciation, remembering his tenderness as well as his inner fortitude. When he passed away, Walker was further survived by Susan, his third wife, with whom he had a 1997 marriage. They had been married for more than 2 decades and was characterized by peaceful friendship, common ideals, and both parties pulled back from the spotlight. Suzanne was seen as a profoundly comforting source. Remarkable consistency for Walker in his subsequent years, especially following the passing of family members and when his health started to decline. Although the pair mostly maintained a private, companionable life together, tracked as their partnership as one of sincere affection and profound regard for one another, along with his wife and daughter. Survivors of Clint included a half-sister and a grandchild who both continued to be close to him and treasured their time together, united in his latter years. Even so, he had been portraying the stoic Western hero for a large portion of his career. Walker was by all describes a loving and devoted family man, off-screen renowned for his modesty, generosity, and steadfast devotion to people he cared about. Additionally, his death caused a moment of contemplation over his early history, especially his relationship with Lucille, his twin sister Westbrook. Norman Eugene Walker was born alongside on May 30, 1927. Lucille, the siblings had a unique and intense bond relationship that lasted over. Lucille was deceased in 2000, and her passing had signaled a profound loss of feeling for Clint. Their twins. Had been a characteristic of his early existence, giving him a feeling of togetherness and belonging within the family, even as he became well known in Hollywood. As information about tributes came in, as word of his passing spread. From admirers, co-stars, and fans, who called Clint Walker for more than just his powerful appearance on TV, but for his modest, kind disposition in real life. With his passing, an era came to an end, a period when Americans were dominated by Western's TV and stoic figures like as the imagination was captivated by Cheyenne body. Millions. Clint Walker abandoned not just an enduring legacy in movies and television, as well as a loving family and profoundly, and who kept remembering him as a celebrity as well as a man of excellent morals, quiet dignity, and long-lasting power.